She confronts him. What? Why is everyone looking at my boobs? Guy sheepishly raises his hand towards her chest, directly at the sticker that had come from a dog toy that said "Squeeze me, I squeak." Today in B-Town Reddit stories. What's your best NSFW story that happened while at work? I was the shift manager at a pizza place and things were slow and we didn't have any orders. We were all standing around. One of my drivers gets a surprise visit from his girl and asks if he can drive her down to the Winn-Dixie parking lot to get it on. I shrug and tell him to hurry back. He said, "Oh, I won't be long." Reply: I was a driver for a personal car service and one night I was taking a group of women out for a bachelorette party. They told me they'd be a few hours when I dropped them off. I said, "Oh, that's cool. My girlfriend lives nearby, I'll go hang out with her." They called me up an hour early saying they wanted to leave, so I head over but I took the wrong exit and it cost me like 10 minutes turning around and getting back to the right exit. They were frustrated that I took so long and joked that I was having sex with my girlfriend. It was awkward because we had indeed had sex, but I was late because I took the wrong exit. I didn't want to admit to either, so I just kind of shrugged it off and didn't offer an explanation. Did tech support that involved remoting into people's computers to fix shit so we didn't have to sit there and walk them through everything. This meant that their entire computer screen was visible on our screen. One day I was just getting back from lunch, walking past a coworker's desk, when I saw full-on D and balls and ass in the cowgirl position bouncing up and down on his screen. Coworker was just sitting there watching it with a ship-eating grin on his face. Turns out that this particular customer was having playback issues with his pawn row and had called us to get help. I drive for Uber and Lyft sometimes. Years back I picked up a very drunk girl from the downtown bar scene. She barfed all over herself shortly after she got in the car, took off her barf-covered clothes, then passed out. I didn't realize she'd stripped off all her clothes until I stopped to drop her off. I drive a big SUV and she sat in the way back third row for some reason, drunk and all. I helped her get her clothes back on and inside her house and never saw her again. She gave me 5 stars. A customer was swiping through her phone showing a coworker and myself reference for some artwork she wanted. She scrolled a little too far and ended up showing us a picture of her vagina. You could hear a pin drop. Real awkward. She stuttered and apologized and also went a shade of red I'd never seen before. Reply: coworker did this to me and a couple other guys once. He was swiping through pics of his kid's tree house he just built. This was how it played out. That's the tree house. That's my youngest son. That's my daughter. That's my oldest son. That's my penis. And he just walked away. I used to work in a prosecutor's office. Disclosure clerks would often go through material given to us by police in order to build files that would later be used during court proceedings. Disclosure usually included police reports, witness statements, and the like, but occasionally it included electronic evidence like pictures, videos, or things taken off of a seized cell phone. One day one of the more sweet and innocent disclosure clerks was going through things and saw a picture from the accused's cell phone that she couldn't quite identify. She wondered if it could be marijuana. It was, but decided to ask a few colleagues. When they came to identify what was in the picture, she opened the wrong image, an up-close gif of a woman deep-throating a guy with such skill that you could see a bulge in her throat. The disclosure clerk was mortified, but couldn't help but laugh in embarrassment. She then opened the right image to find out it was indeed marijuana. A running joke in the office was born, namely that marijuana isn't always what it looks like. If you want to support our new channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We would also love to read some feedback in the comments. Thank you very much. This reminds me of a story in a roundabout way. In high school I worked at a very smart pet store. While working there a new girl started as a cashier. She was in her early 20s, very attractive but a little mousy. One of the jobs for cashiers was to restock the front aisles while business was slow. This included dog toys. While she was stocking one day, business picked up and she had to go back up checking people out. While ringing people out she noticed everyone was staring at her chest. One after another, men, women, couples. She started getting upset and embarrassed. Finally a shy, soft-spoken guy comes up and turns beet red. She confronts him. What? Why is everyone looking at my boobs? Guy sheepishly raises his hand towards her chest, directly at the sticker that had come from a dog toy that said "Squeeze me, I squeak." About a year and a half ago, my company decided to upgrade our client database. The process involved me staying on the phone with the creator of the software for hours while he went over our data tables and whatnot to make sure our data would migrate correctly once the update was completed. These meetings were particularly dull because I just sat there while he would basically copy our information into these blank templates. We were on GoToMeeting or something like that, so I could see the work he was doing and answer any questions he had about our data. During one of these long phone calls, he needed some additional information about one of the tables we were migrating our data to. He opens up Chrome and I immediately see HornPub in his recent tab shortcuts. Before I could even realize what I actually saw, the guy went and clicked on the link. Suddenly my computer screen is the squirting category of HornPub and I just silently laughed to myself. I was on mute. Once the tab is open for a couple of seconds, he realizes what he did and goes, "Oops, that's not it," and quickly closes the browser. Easily the funniest thing that's ever happened to me at work. Reply: my friend is the IT director for a security company. He said he is always amazed at how many people use their work phones and computers for Ponro. To the point that there has been more than one PowerPoint presentation that started with some type of Ponro. Had an employee named Rob. He was buddies with my boss, Phil, who sort of strong-armed me into hiring Rob. Part of Rob's sales territory was the adult services section of the newspapers, basically escorts and erotic massage. Over a few months, Rob started getting deep into the shifty, dark corners of that world. He started accepting sex and drugs in exchange for ads from the less scrupulous escorts. One Friday afternoon, I'm closing up shop. Needed to clean up the kitchen a bit, so went to the utility closet to grab some cleaning gear, and there's Rob getting head from a methed out escort. Caught one of my employees having sex with her boyfriend in her car. Both were completely nude. It was 80s model Ford Escort and she was 6 feet tall. What gave her away? Well, someone noticed her bare ass pressed against a window. Oh, I should mention said car was parked in the front row of the parking lot, facing a wall of windows. This was the early 90s, so she was given a warning and sent home without pay. I did fire her the next week when she was caught doing it again. Just thinking about all the NSFW stuff that happened in those days at work makes me laugh. Working at an internet startup a few years ago. Small US staff, me, tech support, account management, sales guy, super sexist, racist, CFO, CEO. We're all at a trade show for a couple days. We do dinner after the show one night, and all of us but the CEO share a cab back to our hotel. On the way, the sales guy, either sober or a ridiculous lightweight, starts talking about how he wants to get laid. Cab driver offers to take us to a club where we can get whatever we want, but the CFO and I are not down. So sales guy whips out his phone and starts looking for an escort on Craigslist. He's going through his options, narrating the choices, finally picks one and calls her up. Right there in the cab in front of our CFO, he negotiates the price with her, like a cheapskate, and gives her the name of the hotel. He spends the rest of the ride back bragging about how often he does this and how good he is at it. Next morning, at the show and in front of our CEO, he starts complaining that the woman never showed. When the CEO asked for clarification, sales guy proudly explained. He was fired a week after. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.